Welcome back, Nick Lenz Movie Reviews. This is episode number 38, double feature number 10. Okay? Alright, two films. Alright? First up, Ghost Ship, which, like the remakes for House on Haunted Hill and 13 Ghosts, it was in fact, it's, believe it or not, this is the third film they ever released from Dark Castle Studios. It's called Ghost Ship. Released in 2002. That means this film was 14 years old. The runtime for this film is... Let's see if I can find it on here. The film itself is only an hour and 31 minutes. Okay, that's pretty decent for a horror film. Now, the story of this film is that there's this, famous salvage crew who known for finding ships. And they're in a bar celebrating. They just got a big rig up. And then this random guy comes completely out of nowhere, tells them about this ship they have heard legends of, and apparently disappeared back in the 60s of all things. Yeah, it disappeared in the early 60s. No one knows what happened to it. And the place is haunted by ghosts. And when they get on board, I'll explain in a minute exactly what the whole point of this is. Now, the cast for this film, pretty much looking at this, the cast, I have never heard of these actors before, even before I saw this film. The film stars Juliana Mongols, Ben Illard, Desmond Harrington, Isaac Washington, and Gabriel Byrne. The film was directed by Stephen Beck, which the film itself looks really impressive for an early 2000s budget. Which, one thing I gotta praise for Dark Castle Entertainment is that the CGI for an independent studio is really good. It doesn't look crappy. Now, as for what happened to the ship, it's a bit of, what? This is what happened? Okay. What happened on the ship was that there were these two people who pretty much decided to massacre the whole crew and almost all the passengers except one. One survived. And this one passenger who survived was a little girl who was traveling by herself. Now, when I think of that, I'm thinking, okay, not even in the early 60s this is happening. This is a bit bizarre, to say the least. Now, the two people behind this are one of the bus boys and the lounge singer on the ship. They're the two behind people on this. And the way they kill most of the passengers is they basically kind of release this wire that apparently cuts off every single person's head in this dance room. Even the captain gets beheaded in this scene, who was actually dancing with the little girl, which is a really nice scene, by the way. The captain was very nice enough to actually dance with the little girl, which I gotta praise him for doing that. Though you gotta notice, of course, the clothes are different than how cruise ship employees dress different than they do today. Now, eventually, everybody turns to each other, and the reason why they did all this was because the ship was full of gold. I am not kidding. There was about $6 million worth of gold on this ship. Yep, and they kept in cargo hold. Now I'm thinking, though, this is the reason why that you killed all these people. Oh yeah, and the salvage crew, most of them die. Almost all of them die except for one, which I won't spoil who that is. There's one guy in the film who actually is the one behind everything. He's the one who actually caused the massacre back in the 60s. Apparently some kind of demon or something, or he's apparently what he describes as a soul collector. Okay, and apparently he's supposed to collect 100 ghosts. And then he gets like a special key or something. I don't know, it's a bit bizarre to say the least. And the film kind of ends with him going back on another ship with the gold that they brought back. Oh, and the salvage cruise ship destroyed in the film. Yeah, there's one of the female members of the crew actually survived. The salvage crew. It's actually a pretty good movie for what it is. I enjoyed the story. It's very compelling. Um, Heck, one of the guys who actually is drunk, by the way, and he kind of laughs at this. He even points to her and says, "It's okay to cheat on my fiance if I'm sleeping with a dead woman." And of course they kind of set up of how these people would die in the film, which is okay. So you have a pretty good idea of how some characters would die, but not exactly. Pretty much with the lounge singer, who actually does die, by the way, she gets killed by her partner. What she does is she takes off her lovely red dress, shows off her naked rear end, has the drunk guy walk over to an elevator, which apparently has no car in it. He falls in and dies. Yeah, how these people die is very bizarre to say the least. Like, one fell down an elevator shaft, one dies in an explosion. Yeah, and it's surprising how this one of the females, because there's two women in this crew. It's surprising how this one woman survives. But this one was really fun to watch. There's nothing really stupid for a early 2000s horror film, and it is kind of scary in a way, which I do praise Dark Castle for. Not can be said the same with Asylum, who is known for parroting films. Dark Castle makes original films, so they made 3 remakes. The third one I heard was really not that good, but the first 2 it was really good. But this is still really good, and I give this film a 9 out of 10. It's a great film to watch. Shoot. So yeah, I've talked about now 3 Dark Castle films. Yeah, the other thing is, the last one they made came out 3 years ago. A bit bizarre to say the least. Alright, next film is a pretty infamous film for some people who have heard of this film. Not much for the original film. Now, the original film is a Vincent Price film, and this film is his remake. And like The Blob, it was released in the 80s. It was released in, if I can find the date here, 1986, 2 years before The Blob. This is The Fly. Yep, the remake of The Fly, starring Jeff Goldblum. Yep, that awesome guy. And his love interest is Glenna Davis, who I think is from... I think she's from Seinfeld. No, I don't know. Glenna Davis, she plays a reporter who actually is working with Jeff Goldblum in the film. Now, like the original film, I have seen the original one. The original one is not black and white, it's in color, which is very weird for the 50s. Now, both the 2 films have one thing in common. Actually, 2 things in common. One, the scientist, basically his field is teleportation. Though in the original film, it's very different. It's like big tubes. In the remake, it's this... Well, here's kind of what the thing looks like. The way she looks. Yeah. In one of the posters, they actually show what... See how that silhouette looks? That's exactly what the tube looks like. It's a smaller tube. It's about... I would say it's about the size... It's about basically how I'm sitting. Yeah. It's basically my height. It's very small, and Jeff Goldblum, like Vincent Price, is... now, Vincent Price was not the Fly in the original one. He actually was the brother of the guy who became the Fly. And his brother was turning into the Fly. And apparently it was his head and his hand. And now, Jeff Goldblum, on the other hand, he kind of merged with the Fly, and he looked perfectly normal when he came out. But apparently he was shedding skin, became sort of a human-fly hybrid, and it kind of died at the end. I know I'm kind of spoiling it, but the film itself is like 30 years old, so I can spoil it. But during the course of the film, Jeff Goldblum and Glenn Davis' characters do in fact have sex. They do have sex, and the ending of the film kind of sets up the sequel to Fly 2, which I think I do have, but I don't know. I've only seen the film once. This film... despite the fact it says, the catchphrase for this film is, be afraid, be very afraid. And I agree with Deadpoolzilla on this one. It should say, be disgusted, be very disgusted. Because some parts of this film are just really gross. But despite that, this is still a good movie to watch. It's a really good remake. So I give this film an 8 out of 10. I only take an extra point off because of the gross stuff. Okay? So, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, which is episode 39. And I'll decide what it's going to be when I get up to it. Okay? So until then, I will see you there. Bye.